1950, the testosterone level in men have been dropping up to 1% a year. If that does not scare you, it should. Testosterone is a critical hormone for men to have, in abundance really. A man with low testosterone will be docile in comparison to a man with a healthy level. They will have a much worse memory, much slower spatial reasoning, a remarkably lower sex drive, and of course, will have smaller muscle mass. And women, this hormone is important to you ladies as well, as it can help you with fat loss and mental function. Having low levels of testosterone can also make it extremely easier for a man to become obese, depressed, and even suicidal. Men today are biologically only 80% of the men they could have been in 1980. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be 8/10 of a man. Men now are weaker, slower, and less intelligent. We are, simply put, not the men our fathers are. So that's really bad, especially at that rate and affecting billions of men. But we're not screwed yet.
Welcome to Male Reality Lessons, where topics are reviewed and discussed as iron sharpens iron. On this episode, we're going to talk about testosterone and how there is a current attack on our manhood, and it's an internal as well as external attack occurring in today's modern times. We're going to dive into how we can possibly counter some of these external forces, as well as what we can do individually to help turn the tide and get our testosterone where it needs to be in order to be a productive male in today's wild and woolly society. Testosterone is the primary male sex hormone and androgen in males, and in humans, testosterone plays a key role in the development of males.
First up on this list is your diet. The food you eat today in the modern world is often processed, prepackaged, and generally unhealthy. And as a certified nutrition coach, I can attest to the truth of this. The prepackaged or essentially non-organic or natural foods we eat today lack a plethora of important micronutrients and often contain harmful chemicals that can severely inhibit testosterone production. Funnily enough, the way to become more manly seems to be to become a hippie, or, just eat healthier. Organic foods, especially foods like eggs, fish, pomegranates, cruciferous vegetables, shellfish, and vitamins like vitamin D, C, and magnesium can help reverse the detrimental decrease in testosterone facing men today. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get tired after eating. And that is actually partially because testosterone production decreases after eating, meaning that constant snacking can be bad for your testosterone levels as well, but that's besides the point. Sleep is an important factor in testosterone production and the function of a man in general. And let me be the first to admit, I am bad at sleeping. I sleep much less than I should. Ask my girlfriend or really any of my close friends. I will go to bed at the same time or later and get up earlier. And this is very unhealthy. Several studies have shown that testosterone levels in men are about 60% higher in men that get a healthier amount of sleep compared to those who do not. Now, I'm not pushing laziness, simply a healthy amount of sleep. Men with lower testosterone are often docile and, fat.
This can lead to insulin resistance, diabetes, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome. Okay, that's enough.
And this is an extremely unhealthy cycle, as obesity leads to lower testosterone, which helps in burning fat. This happens because as fat cells metabolize testosterone, they become estrogen. Obese men also have lower levels of SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, which transports sexual hormones like testosterone through the bloodstream. And here, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I am not a doctor. I have read all of these articles and research studies on all of this, but to me, it's mostly mumbo-jumbo that boils down to obesity leading to lower levels of testosterone. With the unhealthy foods and lack of physical action and the overall unhealthiness facing us today, testosterone levels dip even lower. Now, the next three reasons are the most interesting to me. First up is plastic.
It has people alarmed about the safety of plastic bottled water after scientists at Columbia University found that some bottles of water contain hundreds of thousands of tiny plastic fragments in every liter. That's up to 100 times more than previous estimates. And those plastics could be linked to a whole range of health problems. Now, this study did not mention any brand names. I'll be the first to say not helpful study. Dr. Celine Gounder is a CBS News medical contributor and editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News. Dr. Gounder, thank you very much for being here. The fact they don't mention brands is going to have, you're alarmed, and then you want to know what to avoid. With no brand names, that's tough. So I guess talk to me about what was found, and then in the absence of brands, how people can try to minimize their exposure.
So this study was really focused on plastic bottled water, not other types of bottled water. And what they found was very high levels of nanoplastics, so that when plastics break down, even just like unscrewing a cap, you're going to have a little bit of friction, a little bit of breakdown of the plastic, and you find that in the water that you're consuming.
Wow. Okay. What kind of health effects can that have?
Well, the issue is that with these tiny fragments of plastic, we don't know if the plastic itself can cause health effects, but they are bonded to or combined with other chemicals like phthalates, for example, which are what make plastic more flexible. Mm-hmm. So when you get these tiny pieces of plastic, you're also getting exposed to these other chemicals. Those are known as what are called endocrine disruptors. In other words, they have hormonal effects. They can mimic, for example, estrogen and other hormones. And those hormones or higher exposures to those kinds of hormones can be associated with anything from diabetes to neurocognitive effects in little kids to cancer. And so that is why we have some real concerns about these exposures.
Yeah, you know, I heard about this as I was watching Nora last night as I'm chugging on a bottle of water. So you instantly hold up the bottle of water and say, I don't see anything in there. You're saying it's so small that we can't see it. It doesn't matter the brand. So what are we supposed to do with this information? Because you hear it and it's very frightening. Like, should I just...
Yeah, we hear nano and micro.
Yes.
And plastic.
And plastic, and we're all drinking from bottled water. So what should we be doing with this information?
And it's not just in the water, frankly. You know, this is all in any number of beverages we consume, which also come, you know, many of them in plastic bottles. It's in the food supply. It's in the environment. So it's very hard to avoid this kind of nanoplastic exposure. Some of the basic things you can do would be to try to avoid plastic packaging. That will help reduce some of the risk. Don't microwave your food in plastics.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and then try to use containers like glass or stainless steel. At least that'll help reduce your exposure a little.
Yeah, you heard me right. Plastic. Plastic often contains what's called xenoestrogens. These xenoestrogens are everywhere. Food coloring, personal care items, furniture, industrial products, plastics, tubing, clothing, the list goes on and on. Xenoestrogens work by appearing to your body as hormones when they are ingested or your body is exposed to them. Pretty much like your body is producing more estrogen than it really is. When your body starts producing more estrogen, it often stops producing as much testosterone, and this can not only lower your testosterone levels, but it can increase inflammation in your muscles and joints, and can cause your body to gain fat and in turn make producing testosterone even harder. Estrogen is replacing testosterone in many American men. That's the environment we live in, and the effects can be dire. But they don't have to be. You can help negate these effects by drinking out of metal or glass containers. I personally drink out of my hydro flask almost all of the time. You can also avoid overly processed foods, plastic-wrapped foods, unhealthy soaps, and cosmetics. Pretty much, if you have a choice, avoid the plastic option. Xenoestrogens are everywhere, and they can kill your libido, cause birth defects, and overall screw with your health. So if you can avoid them, avoid them. But they're also everywhere, so keep that in mind. Next up, we have exercise. Men were made to be hunting and gathering and constantly active. But instead, lots of men can be seen spending their time sitting at a desk, docile, and then going home and sitting on their couch. As Mike Posner says, we were not created to eat, sleep, sit, and text. On the bright side, exercise is not hard to start. It can simply be a walk or a jog, or if you're like me, it can be hours in the gym. Lifting weights, especially for men, has been seen to boost testosterone levels in countless studies, between 10 to 25%, which is a sizable increase. Now, back to walking or jogging. These exercises are actually not ideal for testosterone production, as too much cardio can lead to lower levels of testosterone, something American marathon record holder Ryan Hall talked about. Here's him in his prime as a runner, and here's him now. Big difference, right? Sprinting, however, has been seen to boost testosterone levels significantly, so keep that in mind as well. Now, something that does have the opposite effect of exercise and lowers your testosterone levels that is disgustingly prevalent in our culture today is pornography and masturbation. Yeah, not what you were expecting again. According to 2 studies, people who stopped masturbating for a week found a significant increase of about 150% in their testosterone levels. Another study found that frequent masturbation lowered androgen receptors in the brain. Androgen receptors help your body use testosterone. A different study found that frequent masturbation enhances estrogen receptors. These help your body in using estrogen. Over time, frequent masturbation may affect the overall ability of your androgen receptors in using testosterone. Now, funnily enough, actual normal, healthy sex, meaning sex between a male and a female, has been seen in a plethora of studies to increase testosterone production. So, go get married, I guess. Anyway, enough about that. Guys, men are becoming more and more weak. They're neutered and told that being manly is a toxic trait in our culture nowadays. And that's simply wrong. Men, we are supposed to lead, protect, guide, and stand up for what's right. But lately in the world, those men are few and far between. You bend over to the government, to mandates, and to bosses that make you do things that you do not believe in or want to do. You are not alone. So stand up, be a man. And if you feel like you can't, it may be time to look into increasing your testosterone.
In closing, we have to be mindful of our environment, mindful of our surroundings, mindful of what we put in our bodies, put on our bodies, but more importantly, find your purpose, take a stand, and proceed accordingly. Obviously, we can't change everything, but we can impact everything that we can impact regarding ourselves. Go get you a thermos. Grow your own food, even if you have to grow a little patio garden. But more importantly, don't let anybody change your perspective of what manhood is. No shaming tactics or any force-fed social ills such as the alphabet soup game can make you change who you are deep inside. A man is a man and nothing else than a man. Yet, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Let me know how you feel about this subject matter and any other topics you want to discuss here on Male Reality Lessons. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a good day.